Okay, we're live. This video is about the differences between a Scopist and a proofreader. There are a lot of differences. Some court reporters use both, some use none, some use just one. But I'll let you know what the differences are so that when you start to work, you can know what you want or who you want on your team. So when you're looking for a Scopist must be on the same software as you. And the reason is a Scopist will take the audio file, usually it's with what we call audio sync. That's where the audio is synchronized to the strokes that you created on your machine and that have produced a real-time file. So a Scopist will listen to the audio and go word for word to be sure that what you have written on your real time is accurate, is verbatim, okay? And that's called a full audio scoping job. There are spot checking, and again, for spot checking, you definitely have audio sync, and the scopist is on the same exact software as you, and when the scopist spot checks any part of the transcript as the scopist is reading it, that sounds like it doesn't make sense or they can't tell what you meant, they will actually only listen to the audio at that part. Now, a proofreader does not listen to audio whatsoever. There's no reason for the proofreader to listen to any audio because your file has already been scoped. You're giving the proofreader what is your best product without, it being proofread. The only thing that a proofreader will do if something sounds weird or doesn't look like it makes sense or it's missing something is they will make a note for you to check that area, and some of them will even put check the audio. The proofreader does not need to be on the same software as you, but the proofreader can be, but you could also have a proofreader that will just proof an ASCII or PDF file, and then now you as the court reporter will now have to put in the corrections that the proofreader has suggested. And I use the word suggested because that's what they are. Some, of course, are some certain rules, like yes, you have to capitalize the first word of a sentence, but others may be mere suggestions or stylistic, or since you, the court reporter, were there and you are the one who had the audio, you know better how to perhaps punctuate something or how to paragraph something. And the other difference is the price. So a scopist can charge anywhere from $1.25 a page to $2.50 a page. It depends on how fast you need for the scopist to return the file to you. And when you're like in big time, real time jobs and you need like instantaneous scoping, I've heard of $5 a page. But if you're watching this video, you may not be needing that until another few more years. A proofreader, on the other hand, charges about 30 cents a page to 75 cents a page, depending on how fast you need the file. Another thing is, of course, the proofreader is not investing as much as a scopist is in order to get the software that, the CAT software that us court reporters use. Now, I know you may be thinking, well, if a scopist is going to be scoping your work, shouldn't they also be proofreading it as well? Yes and no. Proofreading is once the job is scoped, then you go over it. Because you're looking for like grammar stuff, and like you need to be looking at it through the eyes of a paralegal or a judge or a lawyer, and it's like them reading it. So you just want it to look like a nice final product. And when you're scoping, you're really just focusing on getting everything verbatim. So sometimes you may not realize, hey, I need to put a comma here, I need to paragraph there, or sometimes even homonyms. you may not even realize that you have there instead of there instead of there. So that's why proofreading, when you proofread with that with a different mentality. And if you do use a Scopist, I definitely recommend proofreading the work yourself, because you want to have the last eyes on the transcript. And if you scope something yourself, I highly recommend that you have a proofreader go over it. Now, if you're watching this video, I definitely recommend exactly what I just said, but I'm going to give you the whole story. Is I do know there are court reporters who have been working for more than 10 years or 15 years, and they do not use a proofreader, and they scope their own work. I don't know how that's working for them, but I know they exist, and I know they're probably going to go to work on Monday. So, but I know for me, I've been working for a long time now, and I absolutely can never let a job go out without having a proofreader. Like, I would have to pray a lot if for some reason I had to send a job out without having a proofreader look at it. I made another video earlier in the week about using a Scopist or not using a Scopist when you first start out, but no matter what, I definitely think it's a good idea for you to find a proofreader. Now, you can find a proofreader there's a website called CSR Nation, and proofreaders like list themselves and their available services. There are also, what's that place? On Facebook, there's like certain groups that are made just for that, where you can find proofreaders. And you can also okay, I have a proofreader who was an attorney who was slow, and I think that's probably like one of the best proofreaders that I could have had. But proofreaders are not necessarily looking for stuff in what's in Morrison's book, or the good English or bad English, good grammar kind of stuff. You just need to make sure that it's like somebody can read it. So you don't necessarily need to find somebody who's a court reporting proofreader, but yes, of course, I recommend it. But you may know somebody who could actually proofread your work that is not on CSR Nation. And for finding a Scopist, same thing, CSR Nation or Facebook. And in a lot of the Facebook groups, you can just post, I'm looking for a Scopist. And I'm going to tell you right now, where the way this world is set up right now is there are plenty of Scopists out there and plenty of proofreaders out there. So if you post something, you're going to find people that are going to answer your ad. Now it's up to you to select the right one, or to know when to move on. You may have a great Scopist, and the Scopist or proofreader may be great for a month or for a year, but then sometimes you just kind of grow apart, or you realize that they're not. It's just like at work, just like at a job. Some people, just because you hired somebody for today doesn't mean that they're gonna keep working for your company for 20 years. So it's the same thing with like a Scopist and a proofreader. The one thing that Scopists and proofreaders do have in common is you should give them a preference sheet. So they should actually still kind of know what you like to do, or how you like to punctuate things, or how you handle parentheticals, or your speakers, or your formatting. And I definitely recommend that you develop your own preference sheet, and that you send that out to Scopists and proofreaders for when you're ready to start working with them. And I think that's all of the differences really between them. They're two very different things. I know that there are some Scopists that don't feel comfortable doing proofreading services, and of course there are plenty of proofreaders that don't have the capability to provide scoping services. So it's not to be interchanged. I think if you're going to pick one, if you have to just pick one, either a Scopist or a proofreader, I would without a doubt say pick a proofreader. Proofreaders will make you smarter, meaning you don't know what you don't know, okay? So if, let's say, you wrote down something like a name of a medicine incorrectly, proofreaders will usually catch that stuff. Or, you think something is written properly and it's not, the proofreader will usually catch that stuff. So when you see that a correction is made, you're like, oh, wow, I never knew that was spelled that way. So that's one thing. And when you scope your own work, you become a better writer, like a better steno writer, because when you're scoping your own work and you know you're going to have to deal with it later, you're really going to write much better when you're on the job. So that's why I say it makes you a better writer. The other thing is, when you're scoping your own work, you are really face to face with what your writing looks like, and you're able from there to evaluate your writing to see what kind of changes you need to make, and then you're able to practice them. If you see, hey, I'm always getting phone numbers wrong, you might not realize how bad you are at writing phone numbers until you're starting to scope a transcript. But if you had a Scopist, you may not even realize that you were just that bad at phone numbers. Another thing is, when you scope your own work, you learn much more about your software, and that, of course, is going to make you a better writer and a better court reporter. And the more you know about your software, it will even actually make you a better real-time court reporter. And I say that because when you're doing real-time, there are times that you will want to do certain things in the transcript, and you'll know how to do that at a much faster rate if you already have the experience of scoping your own work. So that is it. I may have some more Scopist videos later, especially for working court reporters. But if you have any questions or anything, feel free to make comments or ask questions. And you could always message me on Instagram under Lady Steno. And I guess that's it. So I will see you guys in the next video.